Okay, so we are live here on Facebook and on our YouTube channel. Welcome all back to September's mortgage market update. My name's Akhil from our mortgage broker, and we're also joined by Mitesh Manik, who you've probably seen on numerous videos in the past, who's one of our specialist mortgage brokers here at our mortgage broker. Mitesh, good afternoon, and thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon, Akhil.
Good, good. How's things with you?
Yeah, it's been good. Very busy.
And business being generous, clients being generous, lenders being generous, or to be confirmed?
To be confirmed. Well, to be honest, it's been a cracking few months. As you know, we've had all the hard work in the first quarter and second quarter pay off because I've had the most number of completions for the month of July and August. And on a personal basis, I've obviously achieved my personal target for this year. So I'm really delighted. Um, this has actually allowed me to spend more time, especially over the summer period, to gain new connections as well. So it's been interesting whereby I've had new connections in terms of working with some estate agents, some new convincing solicitors, and and also, what I've found is that they've also had their own personal needs as well. So some of these professional connections are now my clients. So it's been quite an interesting couple of months.
Sounds good. So it's fair to say you've been super busy. You've had
Yeah,
tons of completions. You've built up numerous introducers. So in a professional capacity, they've become clients as well as introduce you to their clients as well. So introducers, just touch on is it who are your introducers? So are they accountants, solicitors? What sort of
So
introducers
I've
are
had,
you with?
yeah, I've had very good connections recently with a few local estate agents, some local, some not so local, who'd like to work with me. Some of them also have had their own personal leads, so mortgages to review or something they're looking to buy. I also had accountants that looking at more complex transactions in the limited company space and also commercial space. So I've had those type of connections as well, and some accountants are also now my clients because they have their own personal mortgages to look at, and also convincing solicitors. And one of the convincing solicitors is also a client now as well. So it's been quite an interesting journey in the last few months to be able to have these new connections, but at the same time to be able to have those connections as clients.
No, and that's key because I'm a big believer. Your network is your net worth, but
Yeah,
before all that, you've got a network, and then what comes with networking is connections, education, and it's not just you meet someone on a Monday and you're going to do business on Tuesday. It can
yeah,
become a week, month, year, even long old process to build that relationship, and it
yeah,
goes back to like someone, know someone, and trust someone. So you know, great that you said that. It's great that you're building those connections. And from a business perspective, we are massive advocates of relationship driven business. So whether that's clients, introducers at a professional capacity, as friends and family as well. So no, well done to you. And you mentioned that you've hit your annual target a quarter in advance. Well, listen, that's fantastic. Yeah, let's start on a positive note. But maybe we need to increase this target a tad so you don't go on holiday for the next 3 months of the year. How about that?
yeah, yeah. Now I'm actually looking forward to
By the way, this is getting recorded, okay? So I'm gonna keep you to your word here, okay?
now actually I'm looking forward to a one-to-one, and
Yeah,
also the idea is also to look at planning for next year because, as you know, the way our business works is that it sometimes takes 2 to 3 months before deals come through, and so it's all about planning ahead.
yeah.
It's all about trying to push through business in Q4 so that you have a fantastic Q1 next year. And I'm always like I've done over the last 15, 20 years is always planned 3 to 6 months ahead, and looked at ways and means of trying to generate more business. So very much looking forward to um, the my achievement for 2023, and looking at how I can look to grow my business, and if I can grow my business by another 10, 15% from this year, I'll be delighted.
Well, I'll do my very best. So you do 10, 15, I'll do 20, 30 for you. That's for sure. Give you my word. So, going back to the business, yeah, listen, the business has been phenomenal during COVID, and as we sort of move away from COVID, 2020 to even to date,
Yeah,
business has been phenomenal. We're one of the fortunate business areas in the country that have done phenomenal because of the stamp duty incentive that they brought in very early on. Lots of people moving, lots of people buying properties, in particular investment properties. So listen, the last 2.5 years have been great.
yeah.
Even more so, interest rates have been great for more than a decade. Um, just tell us quickly, what are you finding at the moment with lenders, in particular, criteria and interest rates?
So it's been a shock to the system in terms of just generally on a personal level, because the amount of changes I've seen over the last 6 to 8 weeks has been so rapid.
Mm,
Um, and we're actually quite fortunate as a business that we have very good connections with some of the business development managers that we work with. And so we've also invited quite a few of them in the office. We've had lots of Zoom calls. And what that allows us to do is to be able to sort of keep in touch and contact with those lenders and find out kind of what's happening in the pipeline, also understanding the criteria changes that may be sort of coming around the corner. And that's allowed us to then plan in to understand, depending on the type of inquiry we get, is where would we then place the business. So I give an example. In the last 4 weeks, what we realized a lot is that some lenders are taking anything up to 2 weeks to make an assessment on an application. So we have to be mindful about that, because of the fact that there are some lenders that are coming out with certain criteria on the interest rates where they would suddenly change the interest rate halfway through an application process. I don't want to go too much into the details of every lender, but lenders are coming with certain criteria out of the blue, because this is not something that gets advertised. And unless you speak to somebody, whether it's your business development manager or somebody as a point of contact within the firm, that you suddenly find out that there's a criteria change out of the blue, and you might have an application in the process, or suddenly there's going to be a rate change within 24 hours, and all these things are kind of happening currently that I'm seeing in the last, especially in the last 4 to 6 weeks, and that's been driven by the increase in the Bank of England's base rate, and so the lenders are sort of making their adjustments on the rates accordingly, which is what I'm seeing. It doesn't help our stress levels for sure, but at the same time, what it does is that it creates a lot of additional admin work for us, because we're having then to put pressure on our clients to be able to provide us with whatever is required to process the application quickly and make sure that they don't lose the deal. And we're also having them to keep in touch with those solicitors and the points of contacts, like the valuation teams and so on, to make sure that the client has a smooth journey from start to finish. It's been a bit challenging where we're having to spend a bit more time than we used to in the past.
yeah, no, it's a quite a clear and accurate perspective on the market currently. So, you know, longer delays with assessing applications, rates are going up weekly, if not daily, at the moment. The rates are getting pulled
Mm.
at very short notices. Therefore, it means we've got to do the research again, make sure
Yeah.
the right lender is chosen, the right rate, depending on applicant profile, property profile, and everything else in between. So listen, you're very right, and that's one of the other advantages I would always stress to clients. Please use a mortgage broker that has access to a wide range of lenders.
Yeah.
Is independent. They're not restricted by using only lenders 1 to 10. They've got 1 to 100, for example. So that's where we stand out from the crowd. And our experience, our know-how, and also our connections in the market. So it's imperative that I know we do as a firm, we do this very well. We're keeping up to date with our clients, our lenders, even the legal stage as well, just to make sure everything's on track and we're going to meet those deadlines. Because you know there are occasions when sometimes we have to get the mortgage offer extended
Yes.
because of various reasons. And what that sometimes means is some nice lenders will extend the mortgage offer out at the same rate, which is great, for a month or even 3 months. But some lenders, no, we're not going to mention any names, because we're a nice brokerage, but we are finding that they cannot extend the mortgage offer out at the same rate. Therefore, they
Yeah.
have to jump onto the new rate, which is usually 0.5% or 1% higher,
Yeah.
which is quite painful, unfortunately. But we live in this vulnerable time at the moment. Quick fire question.
Sure.
Interest rate decision. They've put it off for this week because obviously for the late passing of Queen Elizabeth.
Yes. Yeah.
What's your views next week on the 22nd? A rate increase, decrease, or staying static?
My prediction is like I think what the market's predicting is probably another 0.5%. I think the rates probably will go up, and
Yeah.
then maybe then there might be a time to pause and think and see whether that's doing anything with regards to the inflation. And let's see, because I think if you carry on at a 0.5% increment throughout the next 3 months or so, I'm a bit concerned that how the market will react by the end of the year. So I'm thinking there might be a pause slightly just before the end of the year, I think, and then obviously a recap probably January, February, because obviously we've got a new PM now as well. So I think the interesting times ahead.
Yeah, nice assumption and nice clarification. And I totally agree. I think we're going to see. You're saying a 0.5% increase next week. I think it'll be 0.75.
Oh wow.
So whoever wins pays for lunch. Okay, is
Okay.
that fair? So,
Very,
so I would say
very
whoever
good.
loses pays for lunch. So Akhil predicts 0.75, Mitesh zero point 0.5. So loser pays for lunch. Okay, great. So that's on the record as well. So yes, but listen, on a serious note,
Yeah.
rates are on the way up.
Yeah.
It does become more costly to borrow money.
Yeah.
But we live in these times at the moment. What can we do? What can we do as a brokerage? What we can do is provide our clients with clarification, confidence in the UK housing market. So for those of you that, for the viewers out there, and we've got quite a few viewers here, if anybody has any questions, please pop them in the question boxes, drop us an email, however you choose, and we'll do our best to answer them. But, questions that we're getting asked on a daily basis is, is the buy-to-let market dead? Are rates going to continue going up? Is buy-to-let still worth it in London? From my perspective, I don't think buy-to-let is dead. I think it's here for a very, very long time. I still think there's lots of profits to be made, and I say that because of various reasons, like the gap between employed income and average house price. Average house price is touching 300,000. Employment income on average is circa 30,000. Unfortunately, we wish we could get you a 10-time multiple mortgage, but I don't think we can find a lender out there in the market in that space. But on a serious note, is you've got that massive divide. We've got a lack of housing shortage at the moment. So I can only see house prices going up. I don't think they'll be going up double digits, just simply because the amount of people entering in the new market space in terms of mortgages is going to come down a tad because interest rates are climbing, right? So they're going to be a bit more conscious of what do the monthly payments look like? Do I really need to move? Do I really need to buy a buy to let? Or on
Yeah.
the flip side is, should I buy buy to let now further up north? What's your views on up north?
It's interesting you say that because some of my recent inquiries have been portfolio clients are looking at investing up north. So I think demand up north is quite high, and a lot of the London investors are looking at options up north. And I think that demand is going to go, it's going to increase over time, and I think you'll probably then find that's going to push growth in the prices up north.
Good. And what tips would you give investors in these challenging times? What's your couple of tips for them?
I would say that at the moment, look at your current portfolio. If you're a portfolio landlord, have a look at kind of where you are with each deal, with each lender.
Mm-hmm.
Try and work out whether it's worthwhile you breaking a deal early and securing a deal now rather than later, because you may have some options to look at raising further cash, for example. The other thing that you may want to consider also, if you also have a residential property in the background as well, and if you've got lots of deals tied in, we've also seen a surge in inquiries on the second charge market. So I won't go too much into it, but there's options to look at second charge lending. So it might be worthwhile maybe looking at that. But you know what? Get in touch with your broker. Be open and upfront and say, look, these are my plans for the next 6 months. What do you think I should do? What are my options? And if you've got a very experienced broker, then I think they'll be able to sort of touch on all these aspects I've just touched on. That way, you're clear and understanding. Well, these are my options. I can take my spreadsheet out, look at the costs. We're looking at circa 5.5% on the deal. Looking at legals for this much. Maybe I can look at the second charge deal now because I'm tied into my rate for the next 3 4 years. I need the extra 30 40 grand. What's the best way of doing that? And I think if you try and have those conversations early, then that way you know your options, and that way you're prepared for your next project. So I think that would be my main tip.
No, it's great. And thank you for that. The only thing I would add to that is please, 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 every property landlord or even just a homeowner needs to understand their current financial picture, assets and liabilities, and on the property side to have a detailed property schedule. If anybody needs a template, feel free to get in contact with us at info@ourmortgagebroker.co.uk or directly with Mitesh. And his email is on the screen now, Mitesh at ourmortgagebroker.co.uk. We will email you a blank template for you to fill in all your property holdings, and that will be from the address, the current values, the purchase prices, the rental income you receive, when the mortgage is being renewed, when the date's finish of the fixed term product, and everything else in between. So that's a very handy schedule to have on hand, so you can keep on top of when your mortgages are coming up. And where I want to go with that, and my top tip is very simple. We all know markets, the rates are going up. We all want to benefit from the lowest interest rate possible. So my top tip is please keep your schedules up to date
Yeah.
before your deal comes up, and that's 6 months prior. So if you've got a mortgage coming up within the next 6 months, you need to be contacting us to understand what will your current lender provide you with a mortgage option.
Mhm.
What would a secondary or an external lender look at for you, provide you, sorry, in terms of rates? We will give you clarification on what the current lender will offer you and what the outside market is willing to offer you. Mitesh can provide it for you as well as the entire OMB team as well. So we've got the experience, we've got the know-how. We're here to build relationships, making sure that everyone thrives. If you are a buy-to-let investor, if you are a homeowner, again, we want to ensure that you are saving as much money on your mortgage where possible to ensure you've got the surplus cash for holidays and wining and dining with the families and all that sort of lovely stuff that we all want to do going forward. So please, please, please keep your schedules up to date. If you've got a mortgage coming up in the next 6 months, you need to be contacting us. We don't charge any fees with regards to having a quick chat, understanding your current stance in your property journey, your property goals. We'll provide you with some quotes. So it's our time, it's us giving you to our time, providing you with our knowledge, our experience, and more clarification on where the market is and are you on the best deal currently. So that's my top tip. It should have been only about 2 lines. There's probably about 20, but it just shows that we're very passionate about what we do. So what else did I want to ask you? We've talked about the Bank of England. We've talked about the top tips. Business is being good. That's for sure. Number of inquiries. Let's be honest with the market. Yeah, the number of inquiries have dropped a tad.
Mm.
I would say
Yeah.
10-15%, but it's not because people are put off the buy-to-let market or moving home. It's more about because of interest rates, because of the cost of living. What do you think about that, Mitesh?
No, it's true. I think people are sort of taking their time to seeing whether it's worth putting a pause on the transaction now. There are some, unfortunately, are waiting for the offers to be accepted as well. It's a competitive market because, as you said, the stock levels are low, or it does are trying to get the right type of stock. There's a lot of competition out there, so depends on when your offer gets accepted. So we're getting all of that. But in reality, I've had numerous levels of inquiries about new build purchases. So people may have exchanged a couple of years ago, a year ago. Some people who have sort of are looking into uh, 2023, and so they're planning ahead. So they would have obviously exchanged contracts a year or two ago to be able to then complete by the end of this year or early next year. A lot of people are still looking at transactions with limited company name. If they're stuck on deposit, they'll try and raise cash from another buy-to-let or the main residential property. Below market value transactions are also up at the moment, especially if you've got good connections with an estate agent. As I said to you, one of my clients is an estate agent, so he's been quite fortunate to be able to get some of those transactions. Semi-commercial, again, is on the rise. So there you'll have a commercial unit on the ground floor, and then you'll have flats above, everything on one title. That's up as well in those inquiries. Auction finance, so people bidding at auction, that's also up. So looking at bridging, and as I mentioned earlier, second charge transactions. So people are looking at the first charge transaction, looking they're locked in, they need extra cash. What are my options? So that's another one. And finally, this is a trend that I'm seeing the last 2 3 months: portfolio lending. So people are looking at a large amount of properties. There was a big portfolio, and they're trying to see, can I get one loan or one lender that'll take the whole lot for me?
Good. So there's lots going on. There's lots of trends in the mortgage market
Yeah.
in terms of types of buy-to-lets people are going for, the types of mortgages that are available. We're not just your average mortgage brokerage, and what I mean by that, we've got access, as I keep saying, to a wide range of lenders. It's not just a high street. We help clients in the limited company space, the LLP partnership structure that people may have, offshore structures that people may have, foreign national clients that are looking to buy in the UK, and likewise with expats as well. So they're the types of clients that we're supporting. In terms of mortgages and property finance, we offer support, as Mitesh quite rightly said, in the residential space, buying your first home or even moving home. The buy-to-let space, whether you're a portfolio landlord or not, bridging loans are a great resource to have in your back pocket if you are, as you quite rightly said as well, buying below market value, the property not being mortgageable or habitable. It might need a refurbishment or a total conversion. Bridging loans come in very, very handy then. And we also support clients with commercial mortgages. So that's a hot topic at the moment. People with residential portfolios are now trying to diversify in the commercial arena simply because the yields are better, the options of adding value to those properties via permitted development, which is a great initiative. So there's lots of things going on. There's lots of resources and types of mortgages and property finance that we can support our viewers, our existing and new clients with as well. The key here is to get in touch with us sooner rather than later. Let us understand your current where you are currently, I should say, where you want to be, and then let's try to join hands, speak to our power team. Power team is pivotal, more so than not in the current market. You need to have the relevant expertise, the relevant specialists around you to be successful in this business. But listen, Mitesh, I think we've taken up 23 minutes of our lunch breaks. I know we don't have much of a lunch break here, but everyone else's lunch breaks. But listen, thank you so much for the information, viewers, listeners out there. This is a recording. It'll be left on our Facebook and our YouTube channels. Please leave us any comments. Direct message Mitesh by email if you wish. Log on to our website as well, ourmortgagebroker.co.uk, where you'll find more information about our services, our team, and what more we can do for you. As I said, any questions, get in touch. There is no such thing as a silly question, and that's one of our key mottos here at OMB. We wish you a